Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Football Judge TV with your host Musa. On this channel, we like to talk about match previews, match reviews, key moments during matches, and match analysis from a fan's perspective. So if you're into this kind of content, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, share this video, drop a sweet comment down below. And today, we are going to talk about the match between Arsenal and Chelsea, where Arsenal won 3-1. And I'd like to share my thoughts to understand what went wrong for Lampard and what went right for Arteta, and just to look at the various details and the key moments during that match. So before we continue, I'd like to ask you guys, do you think this was an Arteta masterclass, or do you think this was more like a Lampard disaster class? From a fan's perspective, I'd like to say, let's give credit to its due. Arsenal won 3-1. They have been unable to score that amount of goals in about 2 months. The last game they won was against Man United. I'm not sure what they have against Man United and Chelsea, but credit to Arsenal. Everything was fantastic. Defense, midfield, goalkeeper, striker, everything. There was energy, enthusiasm, intensity. There was a structured play. I mean, everything just worked for them yesterday. On the other hand, I'm not sure I saw any tactics other than just hoping to cross the ball into the box and someone would get to the end of it. And if that was a tactic, why did Giroud start the game? He's the best target man, possibly even in the Premier League, in such kind of play. The other thing, why would you start players who are not fully fit? Why was Chilwell in the lineup? Why was Reece James in the lineup when you do a press conference and tell the fans that these two players are not fit enough to play the game? The other thing, why would you do such kind of substitutions in this kind of game? That was really poor. I think you should have left someone like Kovacic on the play, on the game, because now I did not see any other person who was able to carry the ball forward like Kovacic did. In fact, he's the one responsible for the booking of Pablo Mari. And why was that? Because he's the only person with the incisive and dribbling ability in the midfield. Then you come and take him out, bring Jorginho in. I have nothing against Jorginho, but I really think he's a good player. But really, is he the kind of player you are supposed to bring on when you're really chasing the game at 2 goals down? The other thing, why would someone like Hudson-Odoi be on the bench and not start the game, and insist on playing someone like Timo Werner on the wing on his least preferred position? And then he has the audacity to come out and criticize him and say that he did not give anything to the team with or without the ball. I mean, how bad is that? You also come out in a press conference and you say that the players are lazy, that the players do not want to run for each other. I mean, who is supposed to do this? Aren't you supposed to coach these things into players? I get it. Sometimes these are the things that players have to look into the mirror and see. I mean, I let my teammates down. I let the whole team down. I was poor in this, I was poor in that. But I mean, it's always down to the coach to give them the morale, to get a good team on the field, and to make them play as they should. Why are we even surprised? This is something that Lampard has done over and over again during his tenure. Just look at his record against the so-called top 6 club. I'm not sure if Arsenal fits into that category anymore, but really, just look at his record against Arteta. I'm not sure he's even won any match against Arteta. Oh, okay, he won just once. But again, I would like to think that was a fluke because it was a 2-1 win. Chelsea were trailing for most of the match. They could only score the 2 goals in the remaining about 7 minutes or so. What is his record against Ole Gunnar? I mean, I don't even recall Lampard ever winning again against him. In the first game, he was smashed 4-0. 4-0. I mean, that is so poor. The other thing, look at his record against Pep. Look at his record against Klopp. Poor, very terrible. And there's always been this debate, Ole is not doing well, Arteta is not doing well, but I really think this time Lampard should even look harder into the mirror and tell us what he's really going to do with his team. The other thing, how can you be given £222 million to spend on players in every single department, goalkeeper, defense, midfield, and strike force, and still come up with this sort of play? I mean, for lack of better words, this was just absolute garbage. Yeah, because you have signed your players. Some of them you don't play them. Some of them you play them in their least favorite position, and then you come out and say that they did not give enough. I mean, are you really that bad? I respect Lampard I would like to say I respect him as a player, but I mean as a coach, it looks like this guy is really out of his depth. The other day we were talking on this channel about Mikel Arteta, and we'll link that video after this. You go and watch it. We were talking about Mikel Arteta and the possible replacement. I think it's even time for us to start thinking hard. Is it time for us to start looking at Lampard and saying, maybe this guy needs to be replaced? Should we bring someone else who can do better things with this kind of squad? I mean, it's all hypothetical at this stage. But if you were to give someone like Klopp or a Guardiola or even a Mourinho this kind of team that Lampard has, I think you'd see much better things. The other thing I would like to criticize, I'm sorry guys if today I'm really going hard on Lampard, but I really think this was bound to happen at some point. There are tough games coming up. Aston Villa, a team that can even score 3 goals with a red card. Man City, I think, is coming up next. This is a team that, again, Lampard has performed terribly against Man City, other than the win last season, at the back end of last season, where Chelsea scored a penalty, Pulisic a counter-attack. Lampard has literally struggled against all these big teams, and at the moment I'm really struggling to see how he's going to turn the fortunes around for the team. When I'm talking about tactics, I mean, look at a club like Man City. You know, this is a team where they like to overload the flanks, get a pullback, score a goal. They have scored numerous kind of goals in this manner. Look at Liverpool. They like to use their wing backs, Trent and Robertson. They give good crosses. They are possibly the most creative outlets of the team. Salah and Mane tucking in. I mean, even a team like Sheffield United, you can even see what they are trying to do. They will always overload the wings. They have the overlapping centre backs. You can always see something. Ole, he's been criticized at Man United for not doing enough. But again, the team, you can see what they are trying to do. This is a team that would like to counter-attack other teams. They would like to sit back, bring their opponents, and then hit on the counter. And if they do that, they do it to perfection. But at the moment, it's so hard. After almost 1.5 years in charge, it's really so hard for the Chelsea fans to really look at Lampard and say, okay, this is other than knowing that we are going to play a 4-3-3 and knowing that Kante will play in the as a defensive midfielder. Nothing else is apparent. There's no way you'll know that this is the kind of play Chelsea are trying to overload the flanks. They are trying to run into the half spaces, or they are trying to use aerial balls into the box. I mean, there's literally nothing and no structure of play that you can identify. Well, you can sympathize with Lampard and you can excuse him a bit, because when you look at someone like Ziyech, possibly the most creative outlet of the team, he's been in and out of the team. Again, look at Pulisic, his dribbling runs have always been good. Also in and out of the team. Hudson-Odoi the same, in and out of the team. And this has made him play Timo Werner out of his favorite position. But again, this is literally no excuse for a coach at the very top of the football platform or the football world to be saying that he doesn't have all his players available, or give other excuses that players were lazy. I mean, teams will always concede free kicks. Teams will always concede penalty kicks. But again, if you're really going to blame the players, how do you excuse the team by having 0 shots on target for 80 minutes? 80 minutes. I mean, you had Abraham playing, you had Timo Werner playing, and you can't even put something or a structure or a tactic that works for these players, that works to their strengths. How can you say that Timo Werner will always play? The last 10 games, it's no coincidence that for the past 10 games, Timo Werner has not scored anything, and it has come at a time when he's playing in his least favorite position. Again, I don't understand how someone like Pulisic can be fit, someone we've been waiting for all the season to be fit, and then once he comes back from injury, instead of playing him on the left wing, you play him on the right wing. When you were questioned about this and you came out and said, when Lampard was questioned and asked if it's his decision for players to be switching the flanks, is it his decision or is this something that happens within the game where the players find themselves on these flanks and so they have to be in those positions for a while before they switch back? And he came out and confessed that it was him who actually asked these players to switch the flanks. So are you telling me even the fans like us who maybe we don't know so much about football tactics and stuff, but we can literally see when Pulisic is playing on the left wing, he's more productive than he is on the right? Arsenal were really the better team on the day. I mean, you can't really even question what they did, because if you were even to do a ratings video for these guys, you'd agree with me that they were just the best team, from the goalkeeper to their striker. Everybody, even the bench. I mean, if someone comes from the bench, they are playing well. Look at Xhaka. He's literally been annoying the Arsenal fans for the better part of 2 months. But he comes into this game and Chelsea made him look like the prime David Beckham. Not just because of how he scored the free kick, but because of how he outplayed all the midfielders. Look at the goalkeeper. I mean, he had so much confidence, despite the penalty being so poor from Jorginho. He had so much confidence knowing that he was going to save it. And it was about the mental state of all the players on the field. And he came out on top. But anyway, guys, I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions of the match. Please tell me, what do you think? Was Lampard just too bad? Were Arsenal too good? Is this a time where they turn a corner? Is this a time where they improve their season? And for Chelsea, what do you think? I mean, what's at stake here? Are they really title contenders, or again, are they just chasing the top 4 as they've been doing in the recent past? So guys, that's it for today. I'd like to ask you guys, remember, hit the like button, subscribe also to this channel if you're into this kind of content, and we'll see you on the next one.